Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new Ninjago video here on the channel. My name is TannerFishies. In today's video, we are going to be ranking every single Ninjago season now that Ninjago Dragons Rising Season 1 has concluded, and I do a video like this pretty much every time a new Ninjago season ends. Every year, I like to revamp my ranking, share my new ranking with the community, and today's video is no exception. I will be ranking every single Ninjago season, including Dragons Rising Season 1, from worst to best according to my own opinion. And I cannot stress that enough, this video is all just my own opinion. You don't have to agree, and you probably will not agree. But after the video is over, I encourage you guys to rank every season according to your own opinion down below in the comments section. And for another quick disclaimer, we will be including things like Day of the Departed and the pilots, or at least everything that the Ninjago TV series has put out. So without further ado, let's get started. This is my ranking of every single Ninjago season from worst to best according to my own opinion. So starting off at the very bottom of the list, we still have Day of the Departed. Probably not a surprise to anyone who's been watching this channel for quite some time. I famously do not like Day of the Departed. It's littered with bad dialogue, bad writing, strange character decisions, and also probably the weakest Ninjago villain, Master Yang, who I never really liked as a villain, and the only thing that Day of the Departed has that's somewhat redeeming is Cole's story, but even that is not enough to save Day of the Departed from being the worst Ninjago entry ever, again, at least according to my own opinion. Next up, we have Ninjago Season 11, Secrets of the Forbidden Spinjitzu. I have tried many times to rewatch this season, but I still find it to be pretty underwhelming compared to everything that came before. This was the start of Ninjago's Wild Brain saga, and what a rough start it was. This season was just way too long for its own good, with 30 episodes under its belt, and a lot of those episodes felt directionless and pointless, which muddied the entire identity of this season for me. The season does have two chapters, the Fire chapter and the Ice chapter, and the Ice chapter is a little bit better than the Fire chapter, but it still has a lot of those same problems, with a lot of episodes not focusing on the main story, and the story itself being really awkward and not as fleshed out as it could have been. I feel like Season 11 had great concepts, and in other seasons, maybe with a better writing staff or better execution, this would have been an awesome season. Next up, we have Ninjago The Island, known to some as Season 14, and known to others as not a season at all. No matter what you call it, though, I still feel like The Island is not all that bad. It does have some good things about it. The major issue is the runtime. If this would have been a full-on season, this could have been one of Ninjago's best entries, but instead it's rather small, it's very short, it's pretty condensed, and it's more or less just a prequel to Seabound. I feel like The Island could have been a lot more, and I do find it to be pretty underrated, but I still can't place it any higher than this placement right here. It could have been so much more than it actually is. Next, we have Ninjago Season 12, Prime Empire, probably one of the most forgettable seasons out there in my opinion. Out of every Ninjago season, this is the only one that I've seen just once, when it came out. I have not rewatched this season since it came out back in 2020, because I never really had a reason to. I liked all of the stuff with Jay, but the video game setting of Prime Empire was not my favorite. It does make it pretty unique when compared to other Ninjago seasons, but it doesn't really feel like Ninjago sometimes. But I still think Prime Empire had some good things going for it, again, Jay's storyline especially, but overall, it's just one of the more forgettable seasons in my own opinion. Next, we have Ninjago Season 7, The Hands of Time, a very strange season just in general, and apparently the behind the scenes of this season was a nightmare, with production not moving smoothly at all, and you can tell just by watching the final product. This season is rough in terms of its visuals, but the storyline is actually somewhat decent in my opinion. I liked learning more about Ninjago history, and Achronix and Crux the Time Twins are probably some of the more compelling villains that we've ever seen. I also liked Kai and Nia's story, and their relationship with their parents being explored in this season as well. I just don't think this season stands out from the rest when you compare it to literally every other season. It's underwhelming in the long run, even though as a self-contained story, it's actually somewhat decent. So Hands of Time, still not crazy about it, but I do think it's not all bad, pretty middle of the road season in my own opinion. Next up on the list, we have the pilot episodes. How can you not feel nostalgia for these episodes? I suppose suppose maybe if you weren't around at the time in the Ninjago community, but this is where myself and many other Ninjago fans started their Ninjago journey. As a self-contained story, it's totally fine. These were the humble beginnings for Ninjago after all, and I recognize that a lot of things that have come after this are better. And that's why the pilots are so low. I'm not blinded by nostalgia. The pilots are not the best thing that Ninjago has ever made, but still, they are pretty good at the end of the day. Next up on the list, we have Season 1, Rise of the Snakes, another very good batch of episodes for Ninjago, and yet again, part of the humble beginnings era. I will say, this season had one of the more intriguing aspects of any Ninjago season, that of course being the Green Ninja mystery, and back in the day, that was all the rage. No one knew who the Green Ninja was, and we've seen Ninjago try over and over again to recreate that mystery. There's also a lot of great character moments between the individual ninja during this season when they unlock their own true potential, and I will say Season 1 is a pretty good season. There's just other stuff that I like more. There's hardly anything to fault with Season 1, but there's still other seasons that are a lot better. Moving on, we have Ninjago Seabound next on the list. Whether you call it Season 14 or Season 15 doesn't really matter to me, but still, this season has a lot of good moments as well, especially with Nia, who serves as the season's main character. And all of that builds up to the very end of the season where Nia has her emotional sacrifice. Definitely one of the most sad moments in Ninjago history for sure. But still, aside from that, the season also has some great visuals. The underwater aspect is amazing, and for the longest time, an underwater Ninjago season was my dream, and that finally became a reality with this season right here. And there are some episodes of Seabound that don't quite hit their full potential, but still, pretty solid season, pretty solid ending. I like this one a lot. Next up, we have Ninjago Season 2, Legacy of the Green Ninja. Now, I put this one so high because of the second half. I really do not like the first half of this season. I was never a huge fan of the Season 2 filler episodes, with the exceptions of maybe Child's Play and Wrong Place, Wrong Time. But still, the second half of the season is the final battle arc, and that is just so good, and I love the final battle between the Golden Ninja and the Overlord. Still one of my favorite Ninjago moments to this day. I still think this is one of Ninjago's most iconic moments, even though a lot of people like to trash on it nowadays. I still find it to be extremely good, and it was awesome to experience at the time. This is what the entire Ninjago saga was building towards, and they delivered in my opinion. But as it stands, it just barely missed the top 10 just because of those first couple of filler episodes. Next up, moving into the top 10, we have Ninjago Hunted, the second entry in the Oni trilogy, and the weakest entry in my opinion as well. A lot of people praise this season as being one of Ninjago's best, but honestly only a few episodes stand out to me. But still, the narrative of Ninjago Hunted is really strong, and I love the idea of the ninja team being split down the middle here, with half the story taking place in Ninjago following Season 8, and half the story taking place in the First Realm. And both of these stories have their moments to shine, especially all of the stuff going on in the First Realm between Master Wu gaining his memories back and reconnecting with his ninja. Unfortunately, the villains of this season are kind of a mixed bag. I never liked the Iron Baron, and I will say Green Destiny, the finale of Ninjago Hunted, is probably one of the best episodes of Ninjago ever. But as it stands, Hunted has a lot of ups and downs for me. Still more ups than downs, but I still don't like it as much as many other people do. I still don't think it's one of Ninjago's best seasons, but it's still good enough to make the top 10 in my opinion. Next up, in the number 9 spot, we have Ninjago Crystallized, which might be a controversial choice to some people, but I don't really care, honestly. It's my list, it's my opinion, so Crystallized in number 9. Again, with 30 episodes, it's probably a little bit too long for its own good, but at least this time, every episode more or less focuses on the story in some way, with some minor exceptions, but not as many exceptions as Ninjago Season 11. But still, in my opinion, this season was a love letter to Ninjago fans, bringing back a lot of things about classic Ninjago that viewers remember and love very dearly, including certain villains and the Overlord himself making a comeback. I loved all of the build-up. There are some genuinely good moments as well to be found throughout Ninjago Crystallized, and I do find it to be pretty underrated compared to a lot of other Ninjago fans and their opinions. I liked this season when it came out, and I still really like it today. Next up, in the number 8 spot, we have Ninjago Season 6 Skybound, a very controversial season as well when it came out, especially for its ending, but I never minded it. It was the only logical ending, and I still thought it made sense for the story, but this season is more or less the Jay and Nia season, and I love these two together. The season season finally manages to explore and rekindle their relationship after several seasons of back and forth between the two. Also, Jay is a surprisingly great focus character. The ninja get picked off one by one during this season, but Jay is the last one standing, and he pretty much carried this season. Also, we have Nadakon as the main villain, and Nadakon is definitely one of Ninjago's strongest bad guys. He was probably one of the craftiest villains that we've ever seen for Ninjago, and I thought his portrayal in Skybound was handled extremely well. In the number 7 spot, we have Ninjago Season 3 Rebooted, which I still think is very good and pretty underrated by today's standards. This is another classic Ninjago season that modern day fans hate for some reason. Well, I know why. It's because of the love triangle. And you're totally justified in not liking that. I don't think it was handled the best either, but the rest of the season is so good. Those first couple of episodes set up the season so well, and the final episodes had an excellent conclusion as well, with Zane's sacrifice ultimately capping off the season and being one of Ninjago's most memorable moments in history. I also did not mind the Overlord as the season's main antagonist, coming back from Ninjago Season 2. It made sense to me, so I didn't mind it. I love the Nindroids, the technology theme, and like I said, Zane himself is an awesome main character. Rebooted is very underrated. In the number 6 spot, we have Ninjago Dragons Rising, otherwise known as the most recent Ninjago season as of the time of recording this video. And I loved Dragons Rising Season 1. I didn't think it was as great as everybody else did, though. The season is getting a lot of hype right now, and a lot of Ninjago fans are calling it the best season ever. I don't agree with that, but I do think it is pretty good. And I feel like Dragons Rising was a big risk that paid off. The season itself focuses on an entirely new group of characters, with some older ninja being there as support, but the main characters are definitely Eren and Sora, as well as Lloyd. He's a main character too. But still, following Ninjago crystallized and the end of that saga, Ninjago needed something new, and this is definitely something new and something awesome. The season shook up the entirety of Ninjago's world and gave Ninjago fans a season set in a world that was familiar and unfamiliar at the same time. Not only that, but it also works. It's not just unique for the sake of being unique, it's unique and it works. Also, the character moments are exceptional and the villains are amazing, so again, all the ingredients for a top tier Ninjago season, but probably not the best Ninjago season ever. Alright, now moving on to the top 5. In the number 5 spot, we have Ninjago Season 10, March of the Oni. I feel like folks are always surprised when I say how much I love Season 10, but I really enjoy Season 10, March of the Oni. In my opinion, this was a very excellent callback to early Ninjago, and it handled a lot of Ninjago's Oni trilogy aspects extremely well, capping off the trilogy in a very solid conclusion. Now, keep in mind, March of the Oni is only 4 episodes in length, just like other Ninjago seasons out there, but still, all 4 of those episodes hit really hard. But I think the best part about this season is all of the stuff between Lloyd and Garmadon, how they mended their relationship following Garmadon's resurrection. Like I said, it also caps off the Oni trilogy extremely well. Now with that being said, do I think it's better as a movie or as a season? Honestly, as a movie. If you treat this season as a movie to end Ninjago, or at least the end of everything that came before, I think you will find a new appreciation for March of the Oni, just like I did. Next up in the number 4 spot, we have Ninjago Season 5, Possession, another season that modern Ninjago fans love to hate on for some reason. Only this time there is no love triangle, so what's the deal? First of all, Ninjago Season 5 is breathtaking in terms of its visuals. At the time of its release, this is the best that Ninjago had ever looked. But also the storyline is amazing as well, with Lloyd being possessed by Moro, another one of Ninjago's classic and iconic villains, and the ninja scrambling to solve this crisis while also not having any powers on top of that. In addition, the season also has some excellent Ninjago lore and history, while also providing a lot for modern characters like Nya. I thought the season handled the water ninja arc for Nya extremely well. Season 5 will always be one of the most cinematic seasons in my opinion, such a great season visually, and a great season contextually as well. Overall, very good season, one of Ninjago's best. Next up in the number 3 spot, we have Ninjago Season 13, Master of the Mountain, otherwise known as Cole's Chance to Shine Finally. This was the first season to focus on Cole, and it was so worth the wait. He is amazing in this season. He learns more about his powers this season, and also his mother, and that whole subplot between Cole and his family was very emotional, and again, very well worth the wait. We had only heard hints of this prior, but this season delivered in showing us and telling us us how much it means to Cole, and showing that through his character. Also, the location of the season, the Kingdom of Shintaro, is a beautiful location for the season to take place, and they couldn't have made this more perfect if they tried. With a villain like King Vangelis, side characters like Vanya, and an excellent narrative, Season 13 is truly something special. I loved it when it came out, and I still love it now. In a lot of ways, this season just reinforced that Cole is my favorite ninja, and he probably always will be. Next up in the number 2 spot, we have Ninjago Season 8, Sons of Garmadon. This was Ninjago's big comeback following the Ninjago movie. The designs were different, the story was different. How exactly would Ninjago fare? Well, it fared extremely well, because Sons of Garmadon is awesome, one of Ninjago's best seasons ever. First of all, you have an amazing premise with the Sons of Garmadon biker gang trying to revive Garmadon. That adds a lot of suspense to this season and makes it a very interesting emotional battle for Lloyd as well. We also have the mystery of Samurai X. There's a lot of intrigue to be found in this season as well, and you feel that crucial energy throughout the entire season. The tone is very consistent and very well balanced. It's one of Ninjago's darkest seasons visually and story-wise. It makes for a very interesting and mature experience for Ninjago fans, and that's why I love it so much. As an older Ninjago fan, this season spoke to me. It felt like Ninjago was aging up with its audience. Not to mention, visually, this season is incredible. Easily one of my favorite Ninjago experiences of all time, and I still enjoy rewatching Sons of Garmadon to this day. And finally, in the number 1 spot, the best Ninjago season of all time, in my opinion, is Season 4, The Tournament of Elements. Probably not a surprise to anyone, because this has been my favorite season for years now, ever since it came out back in 2015, but I adore this season. The setting of Chen's island is fantastic. Chen himself, he makes for an awesome villain just because of how insane he is. Sensei Garmadon takes up the reins this time as the ninja's main teacher, and his sacrifice towards the end of the season always hits hard. Also, again, I'm a huge fan of Ninjago history, and this season provides a lot of it, exploring the Serpentine War, which is one of my favorite parts of Ninjago history, and also introducing a lot of new elemental masters, expanding Ninjago's world even further, and making this world more than just the ninja. Not to mention, the Tournament of Elements itself is also a very good part of the season, as I'm sure anyone expected it to be. I love tournament arcs just in general. So Season 4 has a lot that I love, and to this day, it is still my favorite Ninjago season. Sons of Garmadon came close to topping it back when it came out, but Season 4 still prevails, and nothing else has really come close to topping this season for me in terms of this being my favorite Ninjago season of all time. And with that being said, guys, that'll pretty much wrap it up for my thoughts here. That has been my ranking of every single Ninjago season from worst to best. Hopefully you enjoyed. And remember, as if I didn't say it enough in this video, this is all just my own opinion. You probably don't agree, and that's okay. Feel free to leave all of your rankings down below in the comments section. Or if you just want to drop your favorite Ninjago season, that's fine too. Whatever works, let me know down below, and hopefully you enjoyed today's video. That'll pretty much wrap it up for my thoughts here. If you guys enjoyed this one, feel free to like and subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and I will talk to you guys again very, very soon. Peace.